right. There's no angels where I go, only pieces that are broken, scattered dreams across the floor. I'm home.
Alrighty, hello everybody, this is Kirusho here. Now, whenever I last left off, Deku has just discovered this new quirk, pheromone, and he finds it to be a bit odd, but he's going to try and figure it out a bit more later. So, for right now, they're heading to this high-class place. Deku, Reiko, Toru, and, well, Gigantomachia. Deku is heading to a high-class underground fight club, as it is in another city. Kirigiri using his quirk to teleport them to the city, or at least open a portal. Deku taking care of the rest. Now, they would have eventually made it there, after Deku basically carrying these two with him. Gigantomachia, at least close behind. Now, with that, Deku, he would have talked with this bouncer. The man is telling him that he is not allowed in. They have a special event, and he doesn't see him on the list. Deku just telling the man that that's quite fine. Deku checking his quirk. His quirk is nothing special. In fact, it's quite a stupid one, as Deku would just state off the man's name, beginning to read information about him. The man's calm demeanor slowly turning to a more scared one, and a bit more intimidated, after Deku lists off the names of his wife and his parents. Deku then stating that he really does not know who he is. The man confused, Deku blurring out his face and giving a smile. The man immediately just jumping back as he would just say that he's so sorry, allowing Deku in. The man basically being told that if he tells anyone that he is here, then, well, I'm paying your family a little visit. Now, with that, they would have all gotten in, and Deku would walk through to see the bedding they have. This building doesn't do this place justice. It looks small on the outside, but as soon as you go downstairs, it might as well be an underground stadium. The place is not too shabby. He might actually have to come here more often. Albeit he doesn't butcher people tonight. Now, Deku would then sit down. Or no, he would stand up, walking over to one of the railing and actually looking down, to see the ring, watching the two men fighting, and asking if they can see. Them just looking around to see the TVs, watching the two men fight. They're using their quirks, and in fact, Deku, he is seeing something that's quite a bit odd. He thinks that might be a hero in the ring. Is it? No, wait, it can't be. Deku looking in, trying to at least see if he's right. Now, the person in the ring is actually a hero. Deku a bit surprised, looking a bit closer and seeing them, seeing through this little disguise they have. Seeing Best Genist. He is fighting against a man, and in fact, he's doing quite well. Apparently this is a secret he's been doing, or no. That's not it, is it? He's fighting because he's trying to get into the underworld. Think about it. if he fights down here, he can not only use his quirk in certain ways that are technically within his right under the law, but he can also gather information. So, who am I to stop the hero from playing his role? Deku just saying that he thinks he just found her quirk. Her confused and looking down, asking exactly who that dark-haired man is. And what is his quirk then? Deku just saying that you'd be quite surprised. In fact, that man down there is a pro, and his name is Best Jeanist. Her eyes widening and a bit confused, taken a bit back as Deku has thrown his hand over her mouth. She was about to scream, Best Jeanist. That would have blown his cover, and he would be killed on the spot. Deku just telling her to stop what she's about to do. You blurted it out loud, he's going to die. Faster than what I want him to. Deku just doing one thing, as he tells her to stay here and to keep things a bit civilized. Deku walking down. Now, the match has ended in Best Jeanist. He has taken down his opponent, using a bit of a different style with his quirk. He makes the quirk look like he's manipulating his own, tendons, or muscle tendons, so things are at least a bit more difficult to see. Now, Deku would have walked into the ring. Everyone a bit surprised and confused. A man immediately looking at Midoriya and telling him that he's not scheduled to fight. In fact, he's not even supposed to be in the ring at all. Deku just staring at the man and giving him a look, before at least trying to use this pheromone quirk to see if it works on, other people. He wants to see if he can persuade the man to let him fight. If he can, then this will be perfect. Deku turning on the quirk. As soon as he does so, he starts talking with the man, telling him that, in fact, he does want to at least give it a shot. He saw the fight and it actually got him quite a bit amped up, so he's wondering if he can take a shot next. The man looking at Midoriya. Deku a bit confused for a minute. That should have worked. Why isn't that working? Fuck it. Deku switching over to his brainwashing, telling the man that he is going to fight. You can't stop me. The man stopping and freezing, backing out of the ring as he actually does close the door. People a bit confused. Deku turning to look at Best Jeanist, saying that he knows who he is, and there's no hiding that. So, you are looking for someone, aren't you? Now, Best Jeanist is a bit confused. Now, I don't know his actual name, and it doesn't list it here, so I'm just going to keep saying Best Jeanist, and that's probably going to get annoying fairly fast. So, the hero would be confused. Deku just saying that there's no hiding it. The person you're looking for, who is he? Best Jeanist basically stiffing out. And, saying that the person he's looking for is the man who killed All Might on live television. In fact, he's been told to be here by another hero, because he was going to be lured out and taken out tonight. Best Jeanist bringing his hand over his mouth, confused as Deku breaks off the brainwashing. Deku just saying that that's at least good then. Well, I think you found your villain. Best Jeanist confused, looking directly at Midoriya before Midoriya makes half his face disappear, the sinister smile being left. Best Jeanist's eyes widening, as they say that the next fight will be commencing. People beginning to place their bets on who will win. Deku, he is ready though, so what about this little hero? I'll give him a bit of a helping hand. Deku holding out his hand. People being confused as he begins to spray denim around the arena. The hero just looking at this. And Deku using his telekinesis to throw off that wig, as he announces to everyone that they have a problem. Heroes are going to be here soon. So, I suggest I kill this one in a fair fight. Everyone a bit shocked. Quite a lot of people want to watch the fight, but they also do want to see if they can get out of here. One man just saying that they need to kill the pro. People beginning to chant, kill the pro, kill the pro. Best Genius realizing that his only, means of cover are blown. And his target is basically found him. Deku staring down Best Genius as he looks up into the stands, seeing Toru and Reiko leaning over the rails and basically cheering him on. That's odd. Well, no use of dwelling on it now. Deku telling Best Genius to give it his A game, as he would take a step forwards. Best Genius immediately bring his hands up and manipulating the denim around the ring, wrapping it around Deku and trying to at least restrain him. Deku just looking down at it, asking if that was it. Best Genius confuses Deku would just pull his arms outwards, breaking the denim away from his body, saying that he's going to need to try harder. In fact, you know what I did? I killed All Might. Everyone around confused, realizing that this guy is the villain that they've heard about. The Demon Son, or the Prince of the Underworld, as many people know him by. He has no official villain name. Deku, he just begins to state that his quirk will be quite useful, but he will give him a fair fight. One quirk, that's all I will need. Now, Deku would create one thing in his hand. He would create a simple blade, saying that he will only use a creation quirk. Other than that, everything else will be fair. Do you understand me? If you beat me, then, I'll let you live. Everyone beginning to boo around Deku. Deku just looking around, and silencing everyone around him. With one thing, rushing forwards, and beginning to slice away at his denim. Best Genius trying to dodge and actually maneuver around the ring, being surprised exactly how fast this kid is. This is him only using one quirk, so him bringing his hands up and beginning to throw around more denim, wrapping up Midoriya's legs and his hands individually, as he also does wrap around his neck, spine, and back, nearly putting Midoriya into a straitjacket. Deku doing one thing, looking down at this as the area around him begins to get bigger and bigger, before Midoriya just jumps outward. Best Genius confused. Deku he basically used the same tactic Momo used against Aizawa during the Heroes vs. Teachers. Or the Students vs. Teachers. Now, Deku would have just said that that's a bit sad. So, exactly what next? Deku walking forwards, creating a sword in his hand, and throwing it. Then doing the same and throwing that one too. Over and over and over again. Deku just throwing on his hands and throwing knives. Everyone actually cheering him on. As Midoriya would do one thing, running forwards, creating another battle axe, and coming in. Best Genius stopping the sword as it would stab into his arm, or at least through his hand, making him scream a bit. The next one coming in, him being able to bring enough denim to stop it in midair, as the knives come in, stabbing him along his shoulders and part of his side, right underneath his, well, right exactly into his ribcage. As he would begin to scream, Deku lumbering his giant axe over and looking directly at him, saying that this is the same weapon he used to kill All Might. In fact, I won't kill you. Deku bringing his hand up, grabbing onto Best Genius's head as he pulls out his quirk. Then doing one thing, bringing up his hands, and manipulating the denim around the ring. Before doing one thing, bringing it all into his hand and absorbing it. Deku then throwing out his fingers to reveal lined wires. Deku used his creation quirk in tone with Best Genius's quirk, covering the denim to manipulate an armor, as you can call it. Deku immediately just throwing his hands out and grabbing Best Genius, picking up off the ground with his quirk. Deku looking around as he throws his hands up, moving Best Genius around like a puppet, before he does ask one thing, looking towards the men in the chairs. They are the ones who fund all of this, and Midoriya wants to know, does the hero live, or does the hero die? All the men bringing out their hands, and giving Deku a thumbs down. Deku smirking, bringing his hands up and saying to clear the splash zone, as he pulls and tangles the wires around and then slams his hands closed, together, with a mighty clap. As soon as that happens, Best Genius would have been torn to shreds. At least his arms and legs were. He barely was able to let out enough of a scream before his head was chopped into multiple pieces. So, quite the grisly scene, as a person is trying to get out of here. Deku wouldn't really have picked up on it, until he does turn to see quite a lot of people cheering him on. Multiple people are trying to leave, however. So, the police are on their way. I guess we should leave too. Deku going to get out of the ring. As soon as he does, people will begin to block his exit, telling him that they want him to do something for them. And if he doesn't comply, things are going to be getting a lot messier. Deku just looking up, and smirking at the men, reading their quirks. Useful, useless. Deku just saying, alright, fine, holding out his hand, saying that they're not worth his time. Him closing into a fist as they would both light on fire. Deku, he saw this man's quirk. Not much of a description other than portal. So, this should be at least interesting to see. Deku beginning. He would walk away, going back up the staircase as he would look at his two allies. These two nearly jumping at Midoriya, telling him that was an amazing match, and if they are going to go next. Midoriya, he would just somewhat smirk, saying that yes, they are. In fact, but before he can even continue, he would have been cut off by a man running in saying that they have a problem. Heroes are on their way. Now, Deku's sinister grin would have faded into a bit of an ugly scowl. God damn it. More and more heroes. Exactly when are they going to leave us be? Oh well. I at least killed another pro. So, as he would turn to everyone and do one thing. He would try this little quirk he got, seeing at least what happens with it. He tries to use this little portal quirk, but whenever it does open, it's not really much of a portal. It's more or less just, well, one hole in front of him, one hole behind him. That's a bit odd. Deku reaching his hand through, and looking to see that his hand is just coming through the hole. Wait, is this a... Oh, I get it now. Midoriya just turning off the quirk and turning it back on, focusing it a bit more, trying to think about it. He wasn't really focusing on it, but whenever he does, he can control where this little portal opens up at. So it's more of a boxing type of quirk. You can throw a punch and, well, you can throw a heavy punch from a long range. That's actually a bit interesting. But it is a weak quirk though, so, well, more and more testing will be needed. Deku actually pulling out his phone and calling Kirigiri as he does walk up the staircase, saying that he needs a portal, roughly about now. Kirigiri being annoyed, and opening a portal close by, then doing the same randomly, him opening more and more portals around the city, basically until he would find Midoriya. Deku basically grabbing Toru and grabbing Reiko, and beginning to use air jet to jump up into the air. Now, Gigantomachia, he would follow, by digging his hands into the side of the building and climbing it. Now, whenever Deku does get back to the portal, he would actually make a phone call. Since his place was a bust, a little bit, he does want to see how everyone else is. Deku calling Aiyama. As Aiyama picks up the phone, Deku asking him exactly how did things with him and Monoma go. Aiyama stating that it was not very good. Apparently, a copy quirk is considered cheating. Monoma just saying that it's, well, at least a bit fun. He saw one or two interesting quirks that he copied, but sadly, he had to kill them. Deku just asked what some of them were, hearing him list off a few. Not really my type of quirks. Monoma at least thought they were interesting, since one of them was considered to be a heat-seeking quirk. Basically, from what he can tell from it, you can see in thermal vision, or heat vision as you can call it. You can see someone's body heat, and where things are cold, basically like hunting goggles in the middle of the night. Deku not really too sure about that one. That one sounds annoying, especially during the day. Now, with that being said, more and more portals would open up around the bar. Everyone walking through. Deku actually greeting his allies, saying that it's good to see them again. As he would have done one thing. Sit down and have a cup of water. That fight really made him thirsty. In fact, the drawback to his creation quirk isn't really, well, food. It's quite different. Apparently, he will begin to get a little bit more dehydrated, along with the fact that he does need to at least have the components to make the item he wants. So, he's lucky that he can at least think about the components. That being a bit of a loophole he found. Apparently the guy who had it before him simply just thought, oh hey, I need to absorb this, instead of just think about it like an idiot. Now, with that being said, Deku would have been a bit tired and at least exhausted, having to rehydrate. Now, Deku would stand up and go to walk away. As soon as he does so, someone would have grabbed him by his wrist. Deku stopping and immediately turning to see who grabbed his hand. Seeing it to be, well, Toru. In fact, she's blushing, along with all the girls being behind her. Deku confused for a second, realizing that he's sweaty. Oh shit, he's sweaty. Immediately going to turn off his quirk. That, however, being a bit of a... well, it doesn't work. The effect's already done, and Midoriya realizing that he needs to at least talk his way out of this. The girl is basically dragging Deku to a table and sitting him down, talking with him and asking him more and more questions. Asking him his favorite foods, his favorite hobbies, more and more things. A lot of the girls being a bit bold. Asking him his favorite color, and more odd questions, along with his favorite quirk. Things Deku hasn't really thought about before. Along with his interest in what he wants to do after everything is done. Along with that is exactly how are they going to take down the heroes? Deku, at least pausing at that question. He was at least smiling. This is the most attention he's gotten in quite a while. Before at least thinking, he needs to stop this. He needs to go take a shower, and then, well, wash his clothes. Since the effect might last a lot longer if he doesn't. Deku standing up and walking away, saying that he's gonna go take a shower and to not bother him. As he does do one thing, walking into his room and immediately locking the door behind him, telling Gigantomachia to stay there, stay outside the room and make sure no one comes in. Him basically sitting in front of the door. As Deku does one thing, he would get out of these clothes, create new ones, get into them, and use his fire quirk to destroy these ones that are covered in this pheromone sweat. Deku taking a deep sigh and thinking, this quirk is weird. Why is it even like this? Not just that, why do I feel happy to get attention? It's stupid. Deku just thinking, there has to be a reason behind it. Eventually, after a couple of minutes, he would have been stumped, and think more and more. This quirk didn't work on a guy, so clearly it's linked to the XY chromosome. Depending on who had it. The woman was with, well, men earlier, but she didn't have any problems with it. What does she do with it then? Deku at least thinking, he needs to go find that woman. If that's the case, it should be easy now. Deku leaving, using overclock to sneak out of the house, as you can call it. Before at least looking around. Calling the doctor and asking him if he has any information on the woman's quirk he took on live television. The doctor is saying that he does. In fact, he does at least know her name. Deku getting it from him and looking into it a bit more. The doctor's a bit curious though. This quirk, it hasn't really been documented. Does he have a proper name for it? I can at least write that down. Deku's saying that it seems to be a pheromone quirk. Along with that, it doesn't seem to work on the same sex. If you are a male. I tried using it on a guy to see if I can persuade him with something. Persuade him to let me fight. That didn't work, so I had to threaten him. With brainwashing. I just didn't care. Apparently I forgot to turn the quirk off though when I affected the girls at the bar. Deku leaping through the city. In the middle of the night. Eventually stopping on a rooftop as the doctor would give Deku the address. Deku getting annoyed. He was heading in the opposite direction, using overclock, firebending, and air jet to immediately blast off, and head in that direction and get there in under, roughly, 5 minutes. Now, Midori would have eventually gotten to this woman's house, and he would be on the patio, or her apartment. Basically where you would go to look outside and see the street. Deku just sitting there, and thinking of his question. First off, he doesn't want to scare her, so he'll need to get in. I'm guessing she has an alarm. Deku, using the tail cutter quirk, or the lizard tail cutter as it's listed, to basically cut the glass out perfectly, and setting this piece down. He'll just put it back before he leaves, and it will be like nothing ever happened. In fact, the woman might just think this is all a bad dream. Deku walking in and actually being able to see the woman. Him sitting down, and just thinking, this is going to be an odd question, especially after all this time. I really should have thought this through a bit more. Deku finally waking the woman up, using his quirk. He uses, well, let's see. Yeah, I want to say he would use a mix of Inko's telekinesis along with the illusion quirk, carving his face once more. The woman waking up the same way Mr. Yaoyorozu did, and eventually going through those paces. Her not being able to scream since Deku's holding her mouth closed, and her being confused as to why he's even in her apartment. Until Deku would have set her down, and begins saying that he's not here to kill her or give her quirk back, if that's what she's thinking. Her immediately just taking a sigh of relief, along with, well, a bit more relief. She was finally free of that thing. And in fact, she didn't want it ever again. Deku asking the woman more questions. Him beginning with his first one. What the fuck is going on with this quirk? As Deku would have let go of his control over her mouth. Her being able to open it and saying that her quirk was a bit odd. And she's actually very thankful that he took it away. One thing about it is apparently you sweat a certain chemical. Yes, and it smells nice. Well, that's the main description the doctors gave me. Eventually, over the years, I kinda just didn't update it. I kinda just left it at that, before eventually finding out exactly what my quirk truly was. Apparently, I can be persuasive, as some men call it. Deku confused. The woman going on to state that her quirk allows her to persuade people she is known with. She can't force anyone to do what she wants. It's not a mind control quirk or brainwashing. In fact, you can't force them to do something they wouldn't already do. It's kind of like if you were to... someone just thinking, if this is really going to be the best analogy. Saying that it's like liquid courage, if you've ever heard of it. Basically, it can alter the brain to be a bit more persuasive. And in some case, a bit more assertive with how you approach things. Her just leaving it at that description. Saying that she actually has to wear a specialized, or well, something that her doctors made for her, along with a couple scientists. It's considered to be called really strong perfume. It's one of the only things that can stop the effects of my quirk, since I try not to train it. If I train it, it would be a lot worse. Deku understanding. And at least understanding this a bit better. So this isn't a, well, force you to do anything quirk. Now, Deku would have been a bit confused, saying that this quirk is a persuasive quirk then? Well, if you can call it that, young man. How old are you anyways? Her just staring at Midoriya, him still seated in the chair, saying that that's not important. What is important, though, is this quirk a, well, how exactly do you call it? If you're saying it's a I'll use you against your will type quirk, it's not. In fact, I've once been called a villain because of that thing. I'm just glad it's finally off my hands, and I'm sorry about your burden now. But just know, this quirk doesn't force anyone to do anything. In fact, I'm guessing your problem is because your friend probably likes you. Deku confused, saying that he doesn't have friends. Her just saying that he has to have one. If he's having this problem, then he has a friend who likes him. And she's probably a lucky girl. Deku just saying that his problem's bigger than just one girl. Her looking at him a bit confused. Before she puts it together, asking exactly how many. Deku just saying that that's a bit complicated. In fact, if he tries to tell her, then she wouldn't really believe him. Her saying to try her. In fact, she's dealt with some pretty weird things in her life, so she can at least try and give him some advice about one or two girls. Deku saying that it's actually 9. Her eyes widening and immediately just going pale white. And, well, telling him that that's a bit, okay. I'm sorry to say this, kid, but you're probably gonna have to let those girls down easy. But that just means that your girlfriends, or, well, your girlfriend, if you can call it that, will probably at least be, like, the best one you like. Besides, you said that you don't have friends. I think that that's a lie. You just don't consider them to be because of how close, or, well, something traumatic in your life, right? Deku just looking at her, and her just saying that in fact, she knows about his little stunt. Shigaraki. That name was used by somebody a couple years back. An incident where a villain was, well, responsible for killing quite a lot of students. In fact, you were on that school's record. I'm guessing you knew something about that. Someone coming after you. They didn't just want to take you out or, well, take you down. They wanted to take out your entire life. Show you that everything you touch is poisonous, am I right? Deku a bit annoyed. Bringing his hand up. And brainwashing the woman. Saying, is this honestly what she believes? Her not really saying anything. Before just saying that it's exactly what she thinks. But the question is this true for you? Deku confused, asking her to explain clearly now. Her just stating that he has been through trauma. From what she can tell, or, well, wants to say, a fucking lot. If she's going to be completely clear honest. You believe that you are invincible, untouchable? Probably. Or you're just some stupid kid with a death wish. Either way, you've encountered enough trauma to make yourself believe that you don't need anyone. But as you said your father's goal, that means that he is still alive. You rely on your father. I suggest you go ask advice from him. Otherwise, you might probably just fucking kill me. And I would rather not have that. Her basically just snapping out of it. And taking a deep breath. Deku just, well, at least saying that that should be good. Now, as Deku would just bring his hand up. and filled the room with Midnight's Quirk, as the woman would just fall down onto her pillow and go unconscious. Deku sneaking out the same way he came in, putting the glass piece back on and leaving. That can't be true. His friends. No, his allies. He's trained them, though. He's spent time with them. He's gotten drinks with them. Well, sodas and stuff like that, but... Well, they also do... they do train, though. Deku just thinking more and more about this as he floats through the air, beginning to use his super intelligence. Everything he's done with them is under the label of friend. Spending time with someone, or even going somewhere. Doing something stupid, or at least having a bit of fun. Even the death matches, or, well, cage matches they go to, they usually are cheering on their ally. Their friend. Okay. Well, I guess I should go ask Dad about the problem then. Deku floating through the air. And beginning to think. That should at least be done for tonight. Now, he would call Kirigiri, and a portal would open. Deku having to explain what he did. Kirigiri having Deku walk back in the bar. Or, well, back into the bar, then explaining what's going on. As another portal would open, and he would head for his dad, going to talk to him, along with his mother. Deku walking through the portal to see a forest. And, well, things are beginning to get a bit weird. Now, with that being said, I do hope you guys enjoyed the video and have an amazing day. I'll catch you guys in the next part.